is omnipresent, and there may or may not be some things going on with the 49ers right now concerning their finances. Let's see if we can't find out what's going on. Nice enough to join us, NBC Sports Authentic 49er insider and host, Jennifer Lee Chan. Jennifer, you've been busy these days. Is there any offseason for an NFL reporter these days?
There's never any off season. There's that 6-week span in the middle of June after like OTAs, rookie minicamp. There's a little break there, but other than that, it's always a go.
Yes.
And now that the season's 17 games long, 18 weeks, it just pushes that right up into the Super Bowl and then the Combine. So yeah, it's been a whirlwind.
Well, we appreciate your time, especially when you've been so busy. Are the 49ers planning any kind of tightening of the belt because of cap or cash flow concerns? I know Adam Schefter said some things on McAfee today that led people to wonder what's going on with the 49ers financially.
I mean, I don't think anything's changed since John Lynch spoke to us last week at the Combine, and he said, hey, there's got to be a retooling. There's got to be kind of a recalibration. They're not going to just keep spending tons of money on these huge contracts. I mean, they have six guys at the top of their position in pay. So you've got Christian McCaffrey, Trent Williams, Nick Bosa, and Kyle Juszczyk, who are at the top paid at their position. Then Fred Warner is number 2, George Kittle is number 3. So, I mean, at some point, there's not enough money to go around. And then they have to plan for Brock Purdy's future, whether it happens now, whether it's after a franchise tag or whenever it will be. He is going to get paid at some point, and they need to plan for that.
Jennifer, and I think that's the elephant in the room, of course, talking about Brock Purdy. And it looks like, we know the math. He can play on $5 million this year. And as you said, franchise tag 41 next year. But you always want to kind of take care of your quarterback. And I think the 49ers may be looking for some good press. As of today, March 4th, does it get done this year? Or you think we might be looking next year?
I mean, I think it does get done. Yeah, there was all this talk about, no guarantees and recalibration. And I didn't take it as, okay, we're going to change our business model completely. I think they are an organization that takes care of their players. I mean, when you take care of your players, you get your best from them. So you have guys like, Fred Warner and George Kittle who play their hearts out for the team. It's just unfortunate that last year when they gave Trent Williams, Brandon Ayuk, and Christian McCaffrey extensions, that they all got injured. I mean, that's not their fault. It's kind of bad luck, really. So, I mean, the money going out wasn't producing plays on the field. So I think they have to take care of their players like Brock Purdy. I mean, everybody in the locker room loves him. They know what he brought to the team. And I think they have to, just to keep the morale of the roster, with the 49ers going forward.
Mm-hmm. Jennifer Lee Chan with us from NBC Sports Bay Area. How is the trade of Deebo going to benefit the 49ers, Jennifer? Why didn't they just wait and then just let him go?
Well, I mean, they got a 5th-round pick, and you know how those 5th-round picks have been for the 49ers. So I think that's a big one for them. They wanted to get something, and, if they released him, they weren't going to get anything and still get hit with that $31 million cap hit this year. So no matter which way they went, it's going to cost them money. But the fact that they get a 5th-round pick where they didn't have it before, I think that means a lot. I was thinking it was going to be a day 3, 5th, 6th, or 7th, and I think with the 5th, they got lucky. I think it's also great for Deebo Samuel. I think he's going to actually have a really good year with the Commanders. Jaden Daniels is an upcoming quarterback. It's a team that's a contender. He doesn't have to be wide receiver 1. Terry McLaurin's there. He's the wide receiver 1. Deebo Samuel is not a guy who gets, free in man coverage. So he's there as a weapon, and that's when he has been his best, right? When Brandon Ayuk has been healthy, when they've had a wide receiver there like Emmanuel Sanders in 2019. When there's attention on a wide receiver 1, Deebo Samuel can do his magic and get those yards after the catch and yards after contact.
Jennifer, the 49ers, albeit thankfully, have went all in, and they just haven't been able to raise the trophy at the end of the season. What's your take and what are you hearing? I don't believe that they would try to take a step back to take a step forward. Are they still all in?
Oh, absolutely. I do think they are. I mean, otherwise they would be letting go of guys that already are have many years on their contracts. So, just like I spoke about earlier with those guys that are on those high paid contracts, they just have to balance it out with young guys. And they did a good job last year with the draft class. A lot of guys that were contributing. And I think, if they get lucky again, there is some luck involved. They have a good producing draft class again. I think that propels them into the future. I think they always want to win now, but then they also have to think about, years coming up when guys like George Kittle, who's 31, Trent Williams is getting, a little bit older as well. Those guys, when, they get older, they've got to have guys that will take over in those spots. They've found unique players in Fred Warner and Christian McCaffrey, and, they've got to keep that roster churning. So that means bringing in young players that are less expensive from the draft.
Catching up with JLC, Jennifer Lee Chan, NBC Sports Authentic 49er Insider. Jennifer, I know you and Matt Mayoko have been talking about the receiver situation and whether Ayuk would be traded. But let me ask you this. Do you think 49er fans should be excited about the fact that Davante Adams is available? Because, fans being fans, we get so excited. Oh, he's great. They should get him. Any chance of that actually happening?
I mean, it just depends on Davante Adams and what he's willing to take. Now that he's been released, he can, work out a less expensive 1-year deal, 2-year deal. I mean, really, they are going to need a veteran to be a bridge until Brandon Ayuk is healthy. Brandon Ayuk's ACL, it wasn't just an ACL. There's some other damage in there, and that happened in week 7. So when is he going to be ready? It's definitely not going to be at the beginning of the year. So, they have healthy receivers. They've got Juwan Jennings, who proved he could be really effective last year. Ricky Pearsall, who probably will be much more productive having a full offseason this year. Jacob Cowing, they want him to take the next step. So, it's 3 guys that are not necessarily household names. I think Davante Adams would bring a little clout to that room, bring some leadership, some veteran mindset. So it just depends on how much he's willing to take. I know the Bay Area is his home. So, does he want to do a hometown discount? This is a guy who's made some money in the past, so he's able to do it. So, I mean, if he's willing to work out a deal, I don't think the 49ers would ever say no.
Joined by Jennifer Lee Chan of NBC, of course, 49ers Insider. Jennifer, I think it's about a week ago, you had posted something, so many updates, and one of the things that I found super interesting was Drake Jackson update, and you spoke about him. Can you tell everybody your thoughts on Drake Jackson and, of course, moving forward here for Drake being part of the 49ers?
Oh, yeah. It's one that, it hurts to talk about it because, he had so much promise coming out of USC. He had a couple different defensive coordinators. Was he going to have a hand in the dirt? Was he going to be an upright pass rusher? And he's a guy that Nick Bosa said, man, I wish I could do some of the things he does, but then he can get around the edge when he's healthy is really one of the things that made him stand out to Chris Kasterik and John Lynch when they drafted him. But his knee has been an issue. It's a patellar tendon issue, which is something that 50% of players don't come back from. So Weston Richburg's career ended when he tore his patellar tendon in that 2019 New Orleans Saints game. Mike McGlinchey talks about how he's dealt with one and he still feels pain in his knee. So it's something that's really tough for guys to come back from. And so, hoping, of course, that Drake Jackson is able to play in the NFL, before it's too late. And, I hope he has a recovery where he is the other side of the 50%. But that's a tough one to come back from. And obviously, John Lynch did not sound too positive about him making his way back. He's had some tough setbacks in the recovery, and John Lynch did not sound positive about him being able to play in 25.
Jennifer, we appreciate your time. We know you're busy, and you deserve some R&R here at some point. So thank you for great 49er coverage. NBCSportsBayArea.com. Jennifer Lee Chan, she does the pod with Matt Mayoko. Thanks. We appreciate it very much, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Sounds good. Good to be on.
Yep. We appreciate it. By the way, here's a deal on the 49ers finances per Tim Kawakami, who has a handle on these things. This is what he posted over the weekend. He said, people get confused about this, but just to be clear, the 49ers issue, according to John Lynch, it's not about staying under the cap. It's about cash flow. The 49ers have been paying bonuses cash on long-term deals, and now they're focused more on cutting all the money spent. So the cap thing is really not, I always think anyway, football team, salaries, the cap. They're in good shape with the cap. But they've just been paying out a ton of bonuses, and apparently there are some people in the higher reaches of the organization that are saying, whoa. So maybe that comes into play here on Brock Purdy, or maybe that's just a whole nother situation entirely. But they got leverage on Brock in that they don't have to extend him now. Sounds like they want to, but they don't have to, and they don't lose him if they don't come to an agreement.
No. And to even, I guess, to further exemplify